Right, okay then. I am going to build Von Ryan's Leapers, which I've realised I actually called in my review of the Combat Patrol 2 Von Ryn's Leapers. I think I had the Crimson Fists in my head at the time. I was thinking about the Crimson Fists, and I think I just replaced the word Ryan with with Ryn. Anyway, I'm going to build them. So, this is going to be quite easy in a sense that it's push fit, but that doesn't always mean that it's going to go easily. But we shall see as we go, shall we? Okay, let's start off. We need to get out number one, which is this one over here. Gonna give myself a bit of space to work around these guys as I go because they're quite kind of large models. I need one, number three. And number two, let me find number two. Now, I'm hoping this build will go pretty easily. But I think one of the problems with a lot of Tyranids is there's a lot of kind of jagged bits to work around. A lot of cleaning up to get done. Which means things can sometimes take a bit longer to sort out. So while I'm kind of starting off tidying some of these bits up, I'll go into what I understand of the lore behind Von Ryan's Leapers. So basically, if we were to head back to one of the earlier Tyranid codices, no, codexes, if you, anyway, it mentions the Leapers in passing, but it doesn't really explain why they're called Von Ryan's Leapers. Now, there's lots of different ideas behind this, including a lucky surviving guardsman. Basically, saying how his squad got wiped out could be his name was Von Ryan, but normally with the naming of of Tyranids, it tends to be more related to the planet. So you might be looking at Von Ryan's world. Now, again, you get things like Ryn's world and things like that. So, you know, possible that it's the name of the world. Or it could just be the Magus biologist. You know, I mean, you have to admit, I read those ideas and hypotheticals looking around basically on the internet to see what people's thoughts were. And it does seem that it's most likely, to my mind, to be the name of the world where they were identified first. Am I getting that the right way around? No, I'm not. Anyway, one thing though about the early lore in this codex is it heavily infers that these things are actually a type of Hormagaunts. Now, a long time ago, someone gave some little artwork as well of what one might look like for a trading card game. Let me just get number 8 and number 4 out before I carry on with that little wander off in my mind. This is number 4, the leg. And number 8, one of its claws. Come on, claw number 8. Looks like one of those. So where is it? Would be difficult to find, wouldn't it? This would drive me crazy to make me look for it too much and take me off my train of thoughts. Here we go, number 8. So yeah, so basically, the creature that they drawn out looked, well, quite frankly, it looks like quite a heavy creature, and itself you couldn't really imagine it leaping, but it definitely inferred that it wasn't one of the Gaunt types. Now, however, a lot of people, myself included, prefer the fact that they look more, and look specifically more, like, oh, let me get this in. Yeah, I think I've got that in the right place, haven't I? Or does it go on one of the lower? Right, hang on. Nope, one of the lower ones. There we go. Yeah, so basically, these models look more like Lictors, and I'm not going to deny, I personally always envisioned Von Ryan's Leapers to be a Lictor offshoot. So if you don't know what a Lictor is a type of Tyranid warrior that's pretty much engineered, because I suppose that's the best way to describe what the Tyranid hives do. It's engineered to basically be a predator. It's basically engineered to be a commeloid life form that hunts on its own, striking at its prey. So it kind of, in its sense, it infers that if you ever see the model, it really infers that it's going to leap at you or stalk you or something similar. So it just kind of makes sense that they would use the Lictor frame concept to build these Leapers, because I think myself, here we need number 5, that's really what makes sense to me anyway. That's my personal view, and I'm glad that they've gone down the Lictor path. And I couldn't really imagine them doing it any other way, but I'm pretty certain that if you were to actually get a Lictor model and put it together, and if you got yourself a Homogaunt model and put it next to this, I would not be surprised if you see a little bit of both of them in this model. So, although it's bipedal, which is a Lictor trait, the way that these claws are do really scream Homogaunt. However, it's got the tendrils like a Lictor has. In fact, this is, to be quite honest, this little front part is very, very Lictor-esque. Right then. Number 9 now. Heading over there. Thing is, when you actually really look at Tyranids, the whole range is just, it's well done. You can see how different Tyranid bioforms all relate to each other. They're so, what's the right word? Is it heterogeneous? Basically, you believe that they're all, even though they have vast amounts of differences between individual life forms, they all are clearly of the same evolutionary path. Okay then, right, I should stop waffling so much and actually try and get this thing built. So now I need number 6 over here. said, I wish I did have a lictor to show you all. I definitely have Hormagaunts. And again, Hormagaunts are definitely leaping type beings, but you know, again, it's the Tyranids. I mean, I'm sure if they just decided to mix the genes together of different substrains, they could do. It's not really a big issue for them to mix and match until they get the perfect creature. Okay, 7. Kind of, do you know what, I have to admit though, I kind of do wish it's a lictor now that I was building, because then I could like do a little Bob Ross thing, couldn't I? And go, and here we have a happy little lictor, and we're just going to hide in behind this bush, and that's just our little secret. My sanity's cracked. This doesn't. There we go. Go in your shut. There we go. How cool is that? That is absolutely fierce. You know what? Anyone says that is a beautiful beastie. Check it out. Right, so there's our first happy little leaper. And let's head on to the next one. So I need 10, 11 and 12. Yeah, the problem with these is there's just so many injection points on them. Like, it's got so much you got to chop off. And where's number 11? Over here. I'm going to see as well, although they're push fit, and that usually means one way of building them, I've got a second kit of these over here. And what I might do is, after I've built the bodies using the basic plan, I'm going to see how easily I can mix and match the arms. Zoidberg, Dr. Zoidberg. Yes, that's right. Let's be fair about this. These are basically Zoidbergs. Decapodians. That's the word. That's the word you use. Decapodians from Futurama. Right, let's get this together quick, because I've been so busy after my little conversation about, well, not even a conversation, it's not a conversation because I'm just talking to myself. Actually, I probably am quite insane enough to be able to hold that conversation with myself. 17 and 13. Mm. 13, where are you? Come on, 13, where are you? Oh, probably have a weird moment there because my son just walked in. I've lost my train of thoughts now. I was waffling on, and now my son's not the waffle out of my brain. Yes, 17 over here. Keep telling my son's a big gamer, and he can talk for England and the Philippines combined, to be quite blunt about it. And I always tell him, you know what, just do YouTube videos, see if you can earn some money with your gaming. You don't have to come pestering me every time you want money. You know, I can sponge off him for once. Ooh, ow. Come on. Go in. There we go. It looks, unfortunately, so I prefer it if you've got a few options about positioning sometimes on these, but this one doesn't let you. Where are we up to now? We need number 18 and 14. It's 14. And where's little number 18? Over here, over in the other corner. See how this one goes in. Like so. Looking at this, looks like a little ballet dancer at the moment, doesn't he? When I'm saying he, I'm reasonably confident that Tyranids don't conform to our gender standards. Right, 16 and then 15, there we go. Yeah, well, you know what, I think the other thing as well is I do like sort of thinking about the law behind the Tyranids, and one thing that was quite early established about Tyranid law is that they came from kind of outside of the Milky Way galaxy. Now, however, and I think this is definitely something to think about in a lot of ways, although they definitely seem to come from outside the Milky Way galaxy, the kind of official part of the Horus Heresy that deals with the Tyranids is that upon the destruction of the Pharos, I think it's called, or like a kind of beacon on a planet called Pharos, it sent out a resonation to the warp that basically informed the Tyranids that our galaxy was out there and it was tasty, or it would be very tasty. And, you know, obviously it takes a very long time for the full Tyranid fleets to start arriving, but they do start arriving eventually. Anyway, he's got a friend there. But there's actually quite an interesting book in the Horus Heresy. Let me get number 20 out as well while I'm doing this. Where I think it's a civilization called the Interrex, 21 and 22. They've basically 22. What's it called now? They've kind of hemmed in a very invasive species who, in so many ways, behave like the Tyranids in the way that they are set up. With, you know, genetically, well, you know, like with engineered, like biological adaptations of a wide range. And of course, the Space Marines don't know it at the time that the Interrex have managed to basically limit them to a single planet and basically left them just to exist on their own. But obviously the Space Marine of the Blood Angels, Emperor's Children, and later on the Sons of Horus, they're fighting these creatures, and the way that they're described, the way that they operate, undoubtedly comes across as very Tyranid. So although from like a kind of official perspective, the Tyranids only arrived much later on, long after the Horus Heresy, there's definitely an inference that maybe, you know, over time, like the initial kind of Tyranid fleets or creatures have somehow got to the Milky Way. It's just the main bulk of the Tyranids weren't aware of them at first. I like reading up on that kind of lore. 23 here, because, as I said, the species that the Interrex have penned in, I'm sure it was the Interrex anyway. Of course, they sound very much like the Tyranids, but it doesn't mean that you just don't have a convergent evolution thing and these are just creatures that act in a similar way. But, you know, I just kind of like the idea that the Tyranids are such a diverse species that although the ones that are coming to the Milky Way at a much later stage look one way, it doesn't mean that there aren't other types of Tyranid like fleets that have taken different evolutionary paths. What I mean by that is, like, that could mean that if you get a bunch of very old Tyranid models, there's literally no harm, you know, in saying this is like a Tyranid fleet that took a different approach, you know, different biomass from different species, so end up very different than the Tyranids, the kind of core Tyranids that we see. It also means that if you're very big on creating 3D modelling, you could create your own entire whole Tyranid kind of set of models just to be unique. Right, what else have we got here? Right, we need 24 feel like I'm waffling a bit now just to keep myself talking during the video, but I'm not going to deny, if you've never really watched my videos, I don't do a lot of this waffling for anyone but myself. I think it helps with my mental health. So regardless, I like to do it. Right, 28. We're getting closer now. Right, what else have we got here? 26 and 25. Yep, we're coming to the end of this now. There are a couple of little bits as well on the sprue that can be used as base decoration, so feel free to put them on as you go. Now, I have to admit, I'm trying to decide how I want these Tyranids to look, because on one side, I like the kind of vibrant colours that people go for on Tyranids. I really do. I think they're quite cool. But by the same logic, I have a... How do I put this? I have a... What direction do these go? I think it does feel like they go more upwards, this one, doesn't it? Like in a kind of... Just like praying mantis type strike. Yeah, because I've got basically a set of knights in a jungle theme, and I kind of feel that it might be nice to actually do my Tyranids in a tropical jungle theme, so that it kind of just gives me an interesting way of painting them up, so that it's kind of like they're all fighting in the same area. How cool is that? Properly like shing. Right, there we go then. Got to pick the positioning right of this one. There we go. I think he's all right like that. I think. Trying to decide. Yeah, I think like that is supposed to be. Okay, there we have it. We have ourselves 3 happy little Van Ryn's Leapers. Quite happily, pack hunting. Pack hunting in whatever place they're in. It could be a hive, or it could be a jungle, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They're just absolutely awesome. Right, I'll leave it at that then, because this video has gone on for a lot longer than I normally like, and I've been waffling away. Hopefully you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.